Ma, you smell like a pig that made your husband never sleep with you for 3 now. Ma, leave me alone. It was Oga who got me pregnant.
Stop beating her.
Have you ever met someone so proud that they forgot the most basic thing every human being should do? Take a bath. Not because water was scarce, not because soap was expensive, but because pride whispered, "You look clean, so you must be clean." In Emerald City, where traffic noise mixed with generator sounds at night, lived a couple everyone once admired. Victoria James and her husband, Antony James. Victoria was beautiful, the kind of beauty that made strangers stare twice. Smooth brown skin, perfect makeup, expensive wigs, designer handbags. She worked at a commercial bank and carried herself like a queen. But behind that polished appearance was a habit nobody expected. Victoria hated bathing. Sometimes she could go 2 or 3 days without pouring water on her body. Instead, she had her own solution: perfume.
Wait, before we continue, smash that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss amazing African folktale stories like this. Hit the like button if this story moved you. It really helps our channel grow. Comment below. Tell us where you're watching from and which part of the story touched you the most. I want to see all your thoughts. And if you're craving more African folktales, check out the Bumped app on the Play Store. Hundreds of stories waiting for you. Okay, now let's get back to the story.
Every morning, she stood before the mirror like a celebrity preparing for a photo shoot. She would apply cream carefully, blend her foundation, fix her lashes, adjust her wig, then spray perfume. 1 spray, 2 sprays, 5 sprays, 10 sprays, until the entire bedroom was heavy with fragrance. Behind her, sitting quietly on the bed, was Antony, patient, calm, but tired. "Victoria," he said gently that morning, "did you bathe today?" She stopped and slowly turned. "Antony, please don't start." "I'm not starting anything, I'm just asking." She folded her arms. "Must I bathe every day?" "I don't sweat like that." Antony sighed. "You haven't bathed since Wednesday." Her eyes widened. "So you're counting my bath now?" "I'm not counting, I'm concerned. The house smells sometimes." That statement landed like a slap. "So I smell?" she snapped. "That's not what I said." "You are insulting me," she shouted. "Look at me. Do I look dirty to you?" Antony looked at her quietly. She grabbed her handbag, sprayed perfume again aggressively, and walked out of the room. The door slammed. Antony sat there staring at the space she left behind. He loved his wife, but something was wrong. Very wrong. At Unity Crest Bank, Victoria was admired. She dressed sharply, spoke confidently, smiled sweetly at customers, but there was something her co-workers could not ignore. That afternoon, 2 female staff stood near the ATM lobby. One whispered quietly, covering her nose with a file, "Do you smell something?" The other nodded. "I thought it was the dustbin." They both glanced towards Victoria's desk. Victoria was scrolling on her phone, laughing softly at something on social media. A male colleague walked past her. He slowed down slightly, his face tightened, then he continued walking quickly, holding his breath. Nobody wanted to say it directly, because in Nigeria, telling someone they have body odor can start serious trouble. Customers sometimes shifted backward when she stood too close. One woman even pretended to cough and stepped aside. But Victoria remained confident because she looked clean. Her close colleague, Esther, finally tried. She followed her to the restroom. "Vicky, please don't misunderstand me." Victoria adjusted her wig in the mirror. "Talk." "Maybe reduce your perfume small." Her eyes narrowed. "So now I smell too good?" "That's not what I mean." Victoria cut her off. "I know jealousy when I see it." She walked away. Esther stood there confused, because this was not about perfume. It was something deeper, something Victoria refused to accept. It was almost 10 p.m. when Victoria returned home. Antony had been waiting again. "You are late," he said calmly. "I was balancing cash." She dropped her handbag carelessly. Antony stood up slowly. "Victoria, we need to talk." "About what now?" Instead of answering, Antony walked into the kitchen and froze. Dirty plates piled, pots with dried soup crusted at the bottom, the sink clogged and dark. Then he saw movement, tiny white worms crawling inside one of the bowls, maggots. The smell hit him fully, raw, rotten, heavy. Antony staggered backward. He vomited immediately. Victoria rushed in irritated. "What is wrong with you?" Antony pointed weakly. "There are maggots in the pot." Victoria glanced briefly. "So, wash it." Antony stared at her in disbelief. "Victoria, this is our home." "I'm tired. I work all day." Antony's voice broke slightly. "You don't bathe. You don't clean. Even when I try to come close to you, I can't." Silence. Her pride flared up. "So now you're saying I stink?" Antony looked at her with deep disappointment. "I'm saying something is wrong." That night, they slept on the same bed, but far apart. Antony turned to the wall. Victoria sprayed perfume before sleeping. But underneath the fragrance, something was growing, and very soon, a decision would be made that would change everything in that house. The next morning, Antony did something he had never done before. He locked the bedroom door. Victoria had just finished applying her foundation when she noticed. "Why are you locking the door?" she asked suspiciously. Antony stood up slowly. "You are not leaving this room today without bathing." Victoria laughed loudly. "You must be joking." "I'm not." She rolled her eyes. "Move, I'm getting late for work." Antony stepped in front of her. "No bank today. Not until you bathe properly." Her chest tightened. "Antony, don't try nonsense." But Antony was done begging. He walked to the wardrobe, pulled out a towel, then walked straight to the bathroom. He turned on the shower. Water began to run. Victoria's chest tightened. "You are embarrassing yourself," she said. Antony walked back, took the soap and sponge and held her wrist. "Enough is enough." She struggled. "Leave me." He dragged her gently but firmly towards the bathroom. She screamed in anger, not pain. "Antony, are you mad?" He pushed her inside. "For once in your life, just bathe." Victoria stood frozen under the running shower, furious. Antony stood there too. The water touched her skin. For a moment, something strange happened. The strong perfume smell began to mix with something else, something hidden. Antony's face tightened. "Scrub," he said quietly, handing her the sponge. She hesitated. "Scrub yourself." Tears of anger filled her eyes. Slowly, she began. As water washed over her body, the truth revealed itself. The smell grew worse before it reduced. Antony stepped back slightly. Victoria noticed his expression. And for the first time in months, she felt ashamed. Not because of the debt, but because she saw disappointment in her husband's eyes. When she finished, Antony handed her a clean towel. He asked, "Was that so hard?" Victoria didn't answer. She wrapped herself in the towel and walked out silently. That day, she did not go to work. She stayed home. But bathing once did not fix months of neglect, and Antony knew something bigger had to change. 3 days later, the house was already returning to its old condition. Dirty plates, unflushed toilets, scattered clothes. Victoria had gone back to her routine. Perfume, makeup, late nights. Antony came home early that evening and stood in the sitting room quietly. "Victoria." She was lying on the couch scrolling her phone. "What?" "We need help." She didn't look up. "Help with what?" "This house." She laughed lightly. "So, hire a cleaner." "I mean, a live-in maid." That got her attention. She sat up. "A maid?" "Yes." "You think I can't handle my own house?" Antony looked at her directly. "Can you?" Silence. Victoria hissed. "Fine, if that will make you happy." Antony nodded. "Good." 3 days later, Victoria traveled to her village, and she returned with a girl. Her name was Grace. Grace was from a humble background, but she carried herself with quiet dignity. Clean skin, simple neat clothes, hair properly braided, soft voice, respectful greeting. "Good evening, sir," she said, bowing slightly when she met Antony. Antony looked at her briefly. Something about her presence felt fresh, not just physically, but spiritually. Within 1 week, the house transformed. The kitchen sparkled, the bathroom smelled clean, the compound was trimmed, the air inside the house felt lighter. Antony came home one evening and paused at the gate. He inhaled deeply. For the first time in months, there was no rotten smell. Only soap. Only cleanliness. He entered the kitchen and saw Grace washing plates carefully. Victoria was in the bedroom scrolling her phone. "Grace, well done," Antony said sincerely. "Thank you, sir," she replied with a shy smile. That smile lingered longer than it should have. And Victoria noticed. From the doorway, her eyes narrowed slightly. She didn't know it yet, but the day Grace entered that house, everything shifted. Because sometimes the thing you bring to fix your home is the same thing that will expose you.
Wait, you can enjoy more stories from our Bumped app on Play Store. Go over to Play Store, search for Bumped, install the app instantly for free. Hundreds of stories waiting for you to watch. Or check the description of this video. The app link is there. Open it and download Bumped app instantly today. See you on Bumped.
Grace adjusted quickly. From the very first morning, she woke up before everyone else. She swept the compound, washed the toilet properly, scrubbed the bathroom tiles, cleaned the kitchen sink that had once housed maggots. Within 1 week, the house completely changed. The kitchen no longer smelled rotten. The toilet sparkled. The sitting room was arranged neatly. Antony noticed immediately. The first evening he returned from work after Grace finished cleaning. "Grace," he called. She came out respectfully. "Yes, sir." "You did all this?" "Yes, sir." He nodded slowly. "Well done." From the bedroom doorway, Victoria was watching. She didn't say anything, but something inside her tightened. That night, during dinner, Antony ate quietly. Then he spoke. "This house hasn't been this clean in a long time." Grace lowered her head. "Thank you, sir." Victoria dropped her spoon softly. "So now I was the one making the house dirty?" Antony looked at her calmly. "I didn't say that." But the silence that followed said everything. Victoria stood up and left the dining table. For the first time since Grace arrived, she felt replaced in her own house. Days turned into weeks. Grace continued doing her duties properly. She washed Antony's clothes neatly, pressed them well, kept his shoes arranged, cleaned the toilet without being told. Victoria, on the other hand, remained distant. She still returned home late, still spent hours on her phone, still depended on perfume instead of bathing regularly. One Saturday morning, Victoria called from the toilet. "Grace, come and flush this toilet." Grace rushed in. "Yes, madam." Antony, who was in the sitting room, heard it. He frowned slightly. Later that afternoon, he spoke calmly. "Victoria, she's not a machine. You can flush the toilet yourself." Victoria snapped. "So now you are defending her?" "I'm not defending anyone. I'm just saying, be reasonable." Victoria stared at him. Something was changing. She could feel it. That night, Antony returned from work and found his food already prepared neatly on the table. Grace served him respectfully. Victoria was in the bedroom on her phone. Antony sat down and ate quietly. After eating, he called out, "Grace, well done." Victoria heard it clearly, and jealousy slowly entered her heart, not because of love, but because she was losing control. She had brought Grace to fix the house, but instead, Grace was exposing her. And in that house, the air was no longer heavy with dirt, it was heavy with tension. It was a Friday evening. Antony's old friends from university visited unexpectedly.
"Antony, you've forgotten us because of marriage," one of them joked. They laughed. Victoria was not home. As usual, she had sent a message, closing late, counting cash. Antony looked at the time, 8:17 p.m. He dropped his phone. "Let's go out," his friend suggested. "Just small enjoyment." Antony hesitated. Then he agreed. They went to a nearby bar in Emerald City. Music loud, bottles opening, laughter. Antony drank more than usual. 1 bottle, 2, 3. His friend noticed. "Easy, Antony." But he didn't slow down. Months of frustration had been sitting inside him. The smell, the arguments, the distance on the bed. Alcohol made it easier not to think. By 11:45 p.m., Antony could barely stand properly. His friends supported him. "Where's your wife?" one asked. "Bank," Antony replied vaguely. They drove him home. Grace opened the gate. She froze when she saw Antony in that condition. "Sir?" "He drank too much," one of his friends said. "Help him." They left. Grace supported Antony carefully into the house. He was heavy. His shirt smelled of alcohol. She helped him sit on the couch. "Sir, you need to eat something," she said softly. He didn't respond clearly. She quickly warmed food, fed him slowly. He ate clumsily. After that, she spoke carefully. "Sir, you should bath." He looked at her through half-closed eyes. "Victoria?" "No, sir, it's Grace." He nodded vaguely. Grace led him to the bathroom. She turned on the shower. She helped remove his shoes and shirt carefully. Nothing more, just helping a drunk man not to fall. After bathing, Antony seemed slightly clearer, but still unstable. Grace guided him to the bedroom. She spread the bed neatly. Antony stepped inside, then stopped. Grace was adjusting the pillow. He stared at her, not as a maid, not as a helper, but as a woman. Grace sensed the silence. She stepped back slightly. "I'll go now, sir." Antony reached out, held her wrist. She froze. "Sir." He pulled her closer. She struggled lightly. "Sir, please." But he was intoxicated. His judgment was gone. Months of frustration, alcohol, and weakness exploded at once. He held her tightly. She resisted, but he overpowered her. That night, he crossed a line he could never erase, and Grace cried silently. The next morning, Antony awoke slowly. His head pounded. He turned. The bed was empty. Memory returned like lightning. His heart began to race. He stood up immediately. Grace was in the kitchen, quiet, walking. Her eyes were swollen. She didn't look at him. Antony stood at the doorway. "Grace?" She remained silent. He swallowed. "About last night." Still silence. Victoria returned home around 10 a.m. that morning. She complained immediately. "I'm exhausted. Bank work is not easy." She didn't notice anything. Not the tension, not the silence, not Grace's red eyes. Days passed. Grace continued walking, but she became quieter. Antony avoided eye contact. Victoria remained unaware. Until one Saturday morning, Victoria and Grace were washing clothes outside. Grace suddenly stopped. She bent over and vomited. Victoria frowned. "What's wrong with you?" Grace wiped her mouth. "I don't know, madam." Victoria watched her carefully. The vomiting continued the next day, then the next. Victoria's suspicion grew. One afternoon, she blocked Grace in the kitchen. "Who is responsible?" Grace trembled. "Madam, who got you pregnant?" Grace burst into tears. Silence filled the room. Victoria's heart pounded. "Answer me," Grace whispered through tears. "It was Sir." At that exact moment, Antony stepped out of the bedroom. He had heard everything. Victoria turned slowly. Their eyes met. Shock, fear, betrayal. Antony walked closer. "Stop shouting her." Victoria stared at him. "Tell me she's lying." Silence. Antony didn't deny it. Victoria's hands began to shake. "You got my maid pregnant?" Grace was still crying. Antony stood beside her. "I won't deny my child." That sentence broke something permanently. Victoria felt the ground shift beneath her. Months of death, months of pride, months of neglect, now standing before her with consequences. And this time, no perfume could cover this one. Victoria stood frozen for 3 seconds after Antony said, "I won't deny my child." Those 5 words sliced through the room. Then rage exploded. Victoria turned towards Grace like a storm. "You shameless girl." She grabbed Grace by the hair. Grace screamed. Victoria slapped her hard. "After I brought you from the village, after I fed you," Grace cried, trying to protect her stomach. "Madam, please." Victoria slapped her again. "You seduced my husband." Antony rushed forward. "Victoria, stop it." She pushed him. "You stay out of this." She grabbed a wooden spoon from the table and hit Grace with it. Grace fell on the floor crying. "I didn't want it. He forced me." That sentence froze the air. Victoria turned slowly towards Antony. "Is that true?" Antony's silence answered. Victoria felt something break inside her chest. Not just hunger, humiliation, months of infertility, and now this. She rushed again towards Grace. Antony stepped between them. "Enough!" Victoria's eyes were red. "So you are protecting her now?" "Yes." That word ended everything. Victoria laughed bitterly. "So I'm the outsider in my own house?" Antony looked at her steadily. "You brought her here, but what happened, happened." Victoria's voice shook. "I have been married to you for 3 years, no child, and this girl just entered this house and she's pregnant?" She pointed at Grace. "And you stand there defending her?" Antony helped Grace stand up. "She's carrying my child." Victoria staggered back. She had never seen this version of her husband. Firm, protective, resolved. Outside the room, Grace was sitting quietly, hand on her stomach, and for the first time, she was not just a maid, she was becoming something else in that house. And Victoria knew the ground beneath her marriage was collapsing, and it was too late to spray perfume over this one. From that day, the house divided. 2 sides, Victoria and them. Grace stopped eating at the dining table. She stayed.
So tell me, what lessons have you actually learned? I would really love to see your comments in the comment section down below. And remember to support this channel. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Just say something. Tell me, where are you watching from and which part of the story touched you the most? I would love to see all in the comment section below.